Hi, I'm Teresa Ford. Thank you for opting in to watch this masterclass. I wanted to preempt the entire masterclass because what you're about to see is lots and lots of information about fat loss, how hormones work with your body, and how you can learn to live fired up. I want your body to feel optimal because that is what you're after, but you opted in because there's an assumption that somewhere there's broken happening. Somewhere there's a disconnect between what your body needs and what you continue to do. Now, we know that if we're overeating or if we're soothing our exhaustion with food, that our body's not going to have a great response from that, right? But we also know that we've been trying to follow these protocols of weight loss, diet products, diet plans, surgeries. We've been trying so hard to get the best version of ourselves on the outside without really managing what's going on the inside. So that is what the masterclass for nutrition is all about. It's about what's happening on the inside of your body. But I list out everything that's happening in the mechanics, right? Your body's a machine, and it's got stuff going on inside all the time using hormones, right? Hormones are the messengers that are sending signals. It's kind of like the spark plugs in your engine, in your car, that send signals to turn the engine over, right? So we're trying to start your engine up. But if we don't get this right, this is what's controlling the emotions that then lead to the habits, the behavior. And it's a behavior you're trying to correct when actually the understanding we need of what's happening inside our body it needs to be present. So that's what I'm doing. I'm informing you of all of the things that are actually happening inside your body. I'm telling you the story of the stomach, and I'm helping you understand how hormones control your metabolism. But there is a bigger elephant in the room, if you will, and that is your emotions. Your greatest desire is to be all that you can be, to reach your full potential. And there is this young, youthful person in your heart that when you look in the mirror, there's a disconnect there. That's not you. And we're not sure how that happened or when it happened, or it seemed to happen overnight. Or maybe you're aware that it took some years, but you weren't sure why. You weren't motivated then to do something before it became, say, a 911 emergency where we're like, okay, I have to do something now. But trying to beat your body into submission, coming back into a better state of health or your optimal health, that's not necessarily going to be fun. So my effort here in helping you understand this is that it's going to happen one day at a time, and it's going to happen in either direction. Either you're going towards your goal or you're going away from your goal, one day at a time. So it's not going to be fast, and I definitely don't want to come off sounding like it's going to be just this easy breezy thing to do, because your greatest fear is that you are never going to be the best version of yourself. You want to look good and feel good and present on the outside the same way you view yourself and feel on the inside. So let me also share with you that I already know that you're watching this because you think fat loss is possible for you. You would not be seeking out this kind of information if you felt like it's not who you are and it's not possible for you. So the fact that you're watching gets me really excited because it is possible for you. If you believe it, I'm here to tell you you're right. You're right, and you're in the right place, because fat loss is about taking care of yourself, and it's about living your best life. We are all put on the path to understand our infinite nature, which is what we want to, it's how we express our creativity, right? When we express ourselves creatively, we have way more fun. That's the common denominator amongst all of us, is we just want to have more fun. And so when we're expressing our creativity, we see ourselves show up. That is how we express our infinite nature. So it's really important that you think on those same lines when you watch this masterclass. when you use your creativity, and I express that throughout the masterclass when I say listen to your body, because you're unique. You're different than anybody else out there. And so it's really important that you apply the principles of fat loss in a way that is meaningful. It fits seamlessly with your desire to be your greatest self. Your infinite nature will come out because you're actually working with nature. That's what hormones are. It's a natural state of being, and a very natural, youthful response from your metabolism is to burn body fat. And so even though body fat isn't sexy, it's not all that we're trying to become. It is the process of engaging your body on a very natural, a very personable, and a very creative level that makes it unique to you. Because what can you do? Who will you be if you get your body right? The process of becoming that person is one day at a time, nothing less than 12 months. So it's 365 days of practicing being your best version of you. And it's going to have ebbs and flows. There'll be some days where I don't care. I don't know. I'm too tired. I went off the merry-go-round. My life is stressful. Some days are like that. But then you're going to have more good days because you have answers. You have information. You're going to have way more good days to understand what it's like to be your best self and to discover that it flows seamlessly into your life and into your lifestyle. All of your personal preferences and the way you see yourself living. If you were to dream the dream about living your best life, the life you absolutely love living, this fat loss fits into that. Weight loss does not. Weight loss is stand on the scale, and most of you are going to also agree with me when I'm like, it's not about standing on the scale. It's about energy, confidence. It's about feeling fired up about who you are, that you can't wait to pop out of bed and be you again, right? It's having that desire. If maybe you don't feel that way about yourself now, that it's so exciting when the alarm goes off, I'm up, let's rock and roll. If that's not happening, let's get there. Let's get there together, okay? And if you are excited about your life, it's just that your body's like, something's different. 50 hit and your hormones change and now you have roles where you didn't have roles before. That's not shameful. It's part of life's processes, so that's why we need to work smarter, not harder. So that's why I want to give you the answers to the test. And honestly, for all of the weight loss programs that are out there, fat loss, weight loss, whatever the buzzwords are, it's not about another fad diet. It is not. A diet is what we consume. So what, for better or for worse, we're always consuming something. So just know that it is about you and why you're on this earth, why you've been given the life you have, why you're having the experiences you're having, why you are surrounded by the people that you are surrounded by. Nobody ever stops to get healthy so they can live their life alone, right? We're doing this because it matters to the people we live with and love, and it matters because of the life we're trying to live. So let me just already tell you, the good news is all the answers that you need are already within you. You have the hormonal structure, pulmonary structure, you have the blood sugar structure, you have everything inside of you that is just waiting to be tapped into at a level that is super effective, but is super compassionate. We're not going to get there in a day. We're done standing on the scale. We know better. And our bodies are just waiting for us to notice them again, appreciate them. Our body doesn't want to be beaten to submission. Our body doesn't want to be ignored. Because you know what? When you ignore this, you're ignoring all the other things that are coming to your attention in your life. Sometimes we're looking at the struggles, the challenges, and the education, if you will, life education that's coming at us as hard. And so we're like, I can do hard things. That's not the point. Embrace it. It's your life. So it's fun. It is like roll out the welcome mat. Thank you for teaching me what I need to know. Thank you for not making me go down that wrong path. And knowing your life is a good thing. So every time you're eating and your body's like, no. Listen to it. Because it's trying to lead you to the right path. It's trying to help you open up a new door, a new pathway, a new idea, a new thought about, well, what does my body need? I've been asked many questions about hormonal fat loss, and especially about food, which you're about ready to get some information on. And I had somebody recently ask, okay, I'm going to the grocery store. How many fats do I need to buy? Like how many am I looking for? You know, like the avocados and the seeds and the salmon. And I said, don't underthink it, don't overthink it. If you want some, if it makes a good, healthy, yummy, tasty, fun meal for you to eat that you would do again and again as the days go by, then put in what makes sense, right? If we're obsessing about how many fats to buy at the store and we suddenly get in, brain lock about, one avocado or two, I don't know, I might do it wrong. Relax. My goal for you is to go, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to have some avocado. We're not like binging on 15 avocados in one sitting. That's not the problem. So don't obsess over any one thing that is in this masterclass. This masterclass is about moderation. It's about personal. It's about living fired up to feel optimal here, and to let your behaviors and your emotions of the life you want to live and the body you're going to live it in match. It's just how we come back to being the best version of yourself. It's who you already are, and we're just going to start living that life that we love to live every day, fired up. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the masterclass and let us know if there's anything else we can do for you in the future. Good luck. Hi, my name is Teresa Ford and welcome to our Nutritional Fat Loss Masterclass. In this particular masterclass, I am going to give you so much information that it may cause overwhelm unless you're willing to take this into sizable bites. No pun intended. But if you will be willing to watch these, there's lots of videos associated with this, and watch each video several times, if not many times, because what you'll hear in the first go round will make a lot of sense, and you'll be like, oh, that's interesting, I didn't know that, and now I have more information about how my body is responding to the food and the signals that I'm giving it. But if you will take that information and go practice it and then come back and listen to it in a couple of weeks, you will hear things that you didn't hear the first time. So it's going to make you say, oh, okay, well, I heard that, now I can add this in, and now I can go practice that. So be diligent about coming back and listening. You don't have to watch these videos. I'm not necessarily interested in you watching me, but I'm definitely interested in you internalizing the information here, because when you have the answers, you can behave even better. The actions you take will be meaningful in your life, okay? So let's make an impact here. Let's go forward and let's learn more about your body. First thing on the list, hormones. Hormones control your metabolism. If we're talking to our hormones, meaning if we're listening to our body, and our body is communicating with us, and we know what we're listening for, and we know what to do when we hear the signals, we will be able to take action. Now, your hormones are just information. It's an information highway. You have your brain communicating to your hormones, and your hormones are communicating back to your brain. And it's really important for you to be listening. What are you listening for? Hunger, energy, and cravings, to name a few, are part of your hormonal system. Those are primarily the ones that we will be talking about today because they're easy to remember. Any more than 3 and you're going to be a little bit overwhelmed. Okay? So if we talk to your hormones, which control your metabolism, we will send the correct signals to your hormones, which will then send signals to your metabolism to speed up. So back when we were born and we had cute little baby chubs all over our body, eventually we grew out of those baby chubs. That's commonly what we say, we grew out of them, but actually our body burned the fat because we were born to burn body fat. So then we took on a different role as an adult, and our hormones changed, and they shifted in our 20s and they shifted in our 30s, and now they're shifting at 40, 50, 60, and 70 years old, and our hormones are not the same blend as they were when we were a baby. But the most appropriate response for your body to give is to burn fat. That is a youthful response. It's what it knew how to do in the beginning. So if we've slowed down our metabolism and our hormones are less potent than they used to be, number one, I recommend that you do get your hormones tested by a doctor. And number two, listen to your body. So we're going to go through this and talk about how hormones manifest when food is present. Okay? So let's talk about the story of your stomach. The story of your stomach is really interesting because there's never a time that you put something in your stomach that it just sits there for days, right? It gets processed immediately. So if the enzymes and the hormones in your stomach are taking care of business all the time, then the food is literally the information that your enzymes and hormones needed to distribute it throughout your body and either utilize it, store it, or send it out as waste. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. When your brain says, oh, we're hungry, and the signal is there in the stomach, right? Ghrelin is the hormone that makes your stomach growl, right? So ghrelin shows up, it growls, your brain's like, oh, we're hungry, let's start looking around for some food. So you find some food to eat, you put it in your mouth, you start to chew it up, and all the chyme and all of the enzymes start to do their thing, and it goes down into your stomach and kind of makes a stomach soup. Well, the enzymes are like swimming around. They're like, okay, what is that and what do I need to do with it? If you've got something in there that is an amino acid, your body's like, great, nutritionally dense foods, we know what to do with that. We're going to put it over here in the nutrition pile, right? It eventually gets processed, and the enzymes are swimming around, still trying to identify everything that is in the stomach cavity. So the more food you put in and the wider the variety is, the more work your body has to do, obviously. So we're going to get into this a little bit further about the types of foods you put in, how they manifest. But the most important thing to understand is that food is information. When you put it in your mouth and chew it up and swallow it, it lands in your stomach and it is sitting there waiting to be processed. Now, what types of food it is, the enzymes will process it. It's either going to store it as fat, burn it as fuel, or use it to keep the vitality in your body alive. So the vitamins and the minerals that are present in the food will also go to benefit your body. Okay? So that's really what's going on inside your stomach. Initially, though, I would recommend that you clean house because your body has been through a lot. It's had a lot of living, a lot of years. Sometimes those years were good, sometimes they weren't. And depending on your stress levels, which we will talk about in another video, your stress levels are actually determining what kind of food you really are desiring. I don't want to use the word craving because cravings are actually hormones, but you might have a need or feel like eating certain types of food when you're stressed versus the types of foods you eat when you're not stressed. Okay? So cleaning house is really important. We've got to identify allergens and foods that inflame your body, because those are the ones your body is struggling with. And I put this at the very beginning of this masterclass because I want you to think about when you eat a certain food, how does it make you feel? Because if you are unaware of how you feel based on the food you ate, then we get nowhere. We just keep eating and insulting our bodies until we can't take it anymore and we have a 911 emergency of some sort. We don't want to let our health get to that point. So it's really important to scale your food back. And when I say that, I'm referring to an elimination diet. I'm referring to removing things that could cause the inflammation, like wheat. Notice that wheat rises. The dough itself has products in it that cause it to rise and put holes inside the dough. We call that fluffy food. If you eat fluffy, you look fluffy, and probably 60% of what we eat is that. Whether it's a muffin, a donut, or tortilla, a bagel, just bread in general, even if it's whole wheat bread, it's still a combination of ingredients that equal a fluffy product. So, if your body's been struggling and you've known that it has been, I would take the obvious culprits out. Now, that's not to say all food is a problem. I can't have tomatoes or broccoli, so, you know, everybody's different, and we're as different on the inside as we are on the outside. So that's why I'm not saying in this masterclass that here is a regimented program, because it's highly likely that you would not follow that. You wouldn't necessarily care for the foods we recommended, or you may not feel like eating those foods on those days. So we're trying to educate you more on how to listen to your body. Now, sometimes we get feeling so poorly that we don't actually know how bad we feel. So we keep eating fluffy foods, feeling like they're going to satisfy our need in the moment. Even though there's some guilt associated with it after the fact, we don't necessarily always equate fluffy food with guilt, but fluffy food is there for a reason. It's there to make the other foods interesting, but it sometimes can also be there to satisfy a stress response, right? But if we're very intuitive and very mindful about taking, say, the grains and starches, the white flours, white sugars, and the soda out of our diet, we don't have to guess what foods those are. We know what they are. We know what they look like. But we have to also understand that it's not that we can't have them. It's that we don't want them right now. If you're really going to bring your health to another level, you've got to take those things out. Otherwise, you don't understand how your body's responding to the other foods, right? If you got 6 things going in every meal, your body is telling you something, but you have no idea what. So, of course, we're not recommending you do anything extreme, but for 30 days, it's going to be very, very informative for you to take all starches and grains out. All starches. I was about ready to list them off on my hand, but really all starches and grains. Because if you take the potatoes and the beans and the rice and the quinoa and the oatmeal and the bread and the tortillas and cereal and all the things that also have ingredients, take everything out. And you're like, whoa, but you know, beans and rice are natural foods. It's like, yes, they are. So that's why we're not doing this for 12 months, just 1 month. And let's just see how your body feels. Let's just put in proteins, vegetables, and fruits, and then see how your body feels. You might be shocked at how more vital you feel, that your energy's high, that your body's releasing a lot of water because it's not having to process all the foods that are going in it. It can actually whittle down to just a few foods. It's kind of like It's kind of like when you're working your job and you're multitasking, and then they ask you to do something else, and then they ask you to do something else, and then they ask you to do something else again. And you've got like 6 things going on, and you're trying to manage all of it, and none of it's going all that great. It could have been done better if there was fewer things to focus on, right? So you can kind of understand your body's doing the same thing. It's like, oh, we have starches and grains and fruits and vegetables and proteins, and we have dead food and we have alive food to process. It's trying to do more than it can really handle in one meal. We got to pull that back. Simplify it for your body. Let your stomach and your gut have a little bit of a break. So we're not going to extremes, and we're not trying to eat less. We're actually going to try and eat more, but we're just going to take out the stuff that makes our gut hurt, or that causes us to bloat, or that causes our joints to hurt, right? Because those are signals that your body's like, please stop doing that. And we don't really know which ones it's referring to. So if we take everything out, eat clean, just vegetables, proteins, and fruits, then you'll be able to know that, oh, something I took out of my diet was causing me to feel yucky. So when you're ready, after 30 days, add in brown rice, or add in quinoa, or add in a sweet potato. And the whole idea behind that is that we just introduce one food at a time. So one food for 2 weeks comes back into the diet, and then what? You'll know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. If all of a sudden you start to get the old response of bloating and joints hurting, you'll have a really good idea which one was the culprit. So don't add 2 things in, because you won't know which one it was, right? So just be mindful, listen to your body, and know what it's telling you when you do add some of those foods back in. But what are the chances you're going to feel pretty good about yourself? I think they're pretty high. So give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, so let's talk about the types of foods that we need to focus on. Proteins. We know what they are, right? We need foods that have the nutritional density to them. So let's just talk about that, because the calorie model has been an issue over the years. The weight loss programs that have been out there have focused on counting calories. But you don't have to count calories, and we're here to give you permission to stop counting calories, right? Because counting calories is brain damage, first and foremost. We don't have time, and if you forget to record a meal, then it's like, I don't know, and as soon as you hit I don't know, the dream is dead. I don't know is a dream killer. The day didn't go as well, and at the end of the day you're like, I don't know, so then you go and eat a fluffy food, okay? So we don't need to do that, because the calorie model doesn't work. 1,200 calories of food is not the answer, because maybe if you've been doing a workout program, maybe your body needs more than 1,200 calories. Maybe if you're trying to put muscle on and you have a hard time putting muscle on, you need more calories. So calories is just a measurement of energy in food, right? So if you were to eat 1,200 calories of donuts, would you look lean? No, you wouldn't. And you can't put a caloric count on sleep and stress, and those things will determine whether you burn or store fat. So let's talk about the calories that are in proteins. What types of calories are they? They're nutritionally dense calories, because chicken is chicken, salmon is salmon, right? Nuts are nuts, eggs are eggs. There's one ingredient in each of those things. It's not a blended ingredient list that your body has to sort through and figure out. It is one food. It makes sense to your body, and your body will use it because it's an amino acid, right? Proteins are whole amino acids, and your body will use that to repair muscle and to keep the vitality alive in your body, and it balances blood sugar. We'll talk about those here in a minute as well. But just know that nutritionally dense calories can never be overeaten, because if I put 6 chicken breasts in front of you, all seasoned, grilled to perfection, smells amazing. How many could you eat before you're totally done eating chicken? One. So if you don't crave more chicken after you've eaten one chicken breast, then do you need to count the calories for that? No, you don't, because you can't overeat it. People are getting crazy about portion size. If we're worried all about portion size, then are we really going to enjoy our food? No. So just know that if you have an entire chicken breast and you have 2 vegetables on your plate, what are the chances you're going to be satisfied? And I don't mean stuffed, I mean satisfied. Just right? So think about proteins that way. They stabilize blood sugar, they help repair muscle so you can build muscle, and girls do want to build muscle because that's where toned and tightened shows up. You want to tone and tighten, okay? And they have nutritional value that helps the rest of your body stay healthy. What about good fats? Good fats are important. And if you're a vegetarian, these are also fats and proteins that you can have. So tofu and soy and vegetables and grains and veggie burgers and those types of things. So if you can't have meat per se, or you don't love salmon, there are other options for you to get all of your healthy fats and your proteins in, and you don't have to worry about not being able to eat meat. So the good fats help digest protein. They go beautifully together. Back in the day when they said everything was fat-free and that was the new craze, be really careful not to listen to marketing out there. Listen to your body. Your body would tell you that fats are fine. We're not talking about lard. We're not talking about bacon fat. We're talking about the good fats. Now, I'm not saying don't eat bacon, because that adds a little flavor into everything. And the amount of bacon that we eat every year really isn't playing a factor into the reason we're uncomfortable in our bodies. So good fats, eat them with your proteins. They help digest proteins. Your body knows how to use them. Your body loves to have those omega-3s. And they make your food interesting, right? You're not going to have a salad without your sunflower seeds or your cheese. So eat your fats with your food. It makes your food interesting. Are you kind of like seeing now that you're like, oh, you mean I don't have to be careful that I only have 6 nuts at a time? No. Can you really overeat nuts? Not really. Not really if you're listening to your body. I mean, yeah, you could eat an entire can, I suppose, if you were mindless about it, but we're being mindful, right? We definitely want to be mindful about what we're doing. So a big fistful is not going to cause a problem in weight gain. We're not going to store extra body fat with a handful of nuts, right? That makes good sense. So we're trying to use good common sense here. And, I don't know how many people ever sit down and have an entire avocado for lunch, but if you do because you want it, then maybe your body needs that. And if you're done at a quarter of an avocado on your salad, awesome. But don't get crazy about it, because there's a really high likelihood that you would not be able to sit down and eat avocado after avocado after avocado. We are not getting uncomfortable in our bodies eating avocado. So let's not obsess about it. Let's just drop the drama of how much can I have, and I had 2 slices, is that too many? Just eat to your heart's content, because you'll have enough and you'll know when you're done eating healthy fats. Vegetables and fruits. Guess what? Those are carbs. So when people are like, oh, I'm on a carb-free diet, I'm like, I bet you're not. Because vegetables and fruits are carbohydrates, right? Carbs, cardio, calories, those are marketing things. Don't get all caught up in that. Your body needs a nice wide variety of fruits and vegetables and proteins and good fats. Your body knows exactly what to do with those, right? Broccoli is broccoli, an apple is an apple. You've never sat down to eat an apple and then craved a second. When we're done eating apples, we're like done eating apples. Our body's like, I had an apple, I'm done. Right? It goes back to that story that we were telling in our minds. Here comes food, okay, says your stomach, and when the apple gets eaten and it lands in your stomach, your body knows what to do. It's like, oh, stop right there. We got all the nutritional density we need, put it over here in the nutritionally dense pile, and then process it. By the way, fruits digest in the gut, in the lower part of your body, the intestinal tract, not your stomach. So every time you eat a fruit, it goes from here to here quickly, and guess what? You might be hungry in 15 to 20 minutes after eating an apple going, didn't I just eat? That's why. Okay, so vegetables. Vegetables are living foods. So are fruits, right? They used to be alive, and that's what we want to eat more of. We want to eat more live foods. There's a single ingredient in each of them, right? And you cannot overeat them. Like we talked about with the apple, you can't overeat apples. You never eat 2, 3, 4 bananas in a row, right? Nobody's ever been caught in the back pantry uncontrollably eating broccoli, right? So just stay calm. You can't overeat these foods. You put them on your plate, your brain's going to tell you, done, okay? So if you have, say, salmon, broccoli, and asparagus on your plate, and you're getting more wide variety, right? Let me just back up for a second. So fruits and vegetables are incomplete proteins. Yes, they're proteins. But they have incomplete proteins inside of them, and if you eat a wide variety of them, they complete each other. Pretty cool, right? That's nature for you. So eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, super important. And I know, you don't like every vegetable in the book, and you don't like some fruits. That's okay. You'll have your favorites. You'll have your least favorites. Nothing says you have to eat the foods you don't like. But the foods you do like are actually foods that your body likes and enjoys. So eat them. Okay? So if you're having a protein and you're having 2 vegetables on your plate, what are the chances you're going to feel satisfied? High, right? And we already talked about that, but it's important to ingrain that in your mind that you can't overeat those foods. So enjoy them. So we did talk about whole starches and grains and taking those out of your diet. They were a live food. So let me just also say that the starches and grains I'm referring to used to be alive. The ones that you definitely want on your plate are the ones that used to be alive. So it's like the whole wheat and the whole rolled oats, like steel cut oats that have more fiber in them than the quick oats, right? That's why they're easy and fast to cook in a minute, because they have less fiber to break down in the water. So you're going to want the steel cut oats, you're going to want brown rice, anything that's been enriched, like white rice is dead. It's a dead food. You want the live food. So brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes, baked potatoes, beans, those are all good grains and starches to have in your diet because they have the fiber that your body needs. But we're going to talk a little bit here in a minute about how much of those that you need in your diet. But I just wanted you to know that even though we talked about the elimination diet in the first video, and we talked about just trying to eliminate grains and starches for 30, doesn't mean that they're going to stay out of your life forever. So I wanted you to internalize that. Live foods is where we're headed. Those are the whole foods that don't have ingredient lists associated with them. And processed starches and grains, obviously, those we're going to try and keep to a really dull roar because, again, those are fluffy foods. Fluffy foods make your body fluffy. So if we don't want to look fluffy, those are the ones that we definitely want to leave out of our diet. We want to put them on the back burner. Cereal is for a special occasion. It's not a regular thing happening. Pancakes, not a regular thing. It's just for a special occasion. Same with French toast. Those breakfast items that we do first thing in the morning, lots and lots of fluffy going on there. So we're keeping the processed starches and grains down. We refer to those as dead foods because there's a big ingredient list that cause them to be fluffy, and they get processed as fluff, meaning you store them as fat in your body. Okay? So let us know if you have questions on that one. Okay, so let's talk about your finish lines. If you were to run a race, the gun goes off and you start running, it's nice to have a finish line, right? Or you don't know what you're doing. It's like, I don't know, how about now? Am I done? That's kind of how we handle fat loss at the level of understanding that it brings more meaning to what you are doing and what your goals are to accomplish in this whole idea of, forgetting about weight loss, practicing fat loss, and getting your body back to where it feels really comfortable. So when we talk about the finish lines, let's talk first about balancing blood sugar. You crossed a finish line, that you're doing a good job, I guess, when you balance blood sugar. And the cool thing about blood sugar is that it is the reason you sustain energy all day. It is the reason that your body wants to burn fat. It is the reason that your cellular structure has all the nutrients in it that it needs. So when we think about blood sugar, let's first talk about it in relation to what we already know. We know your heartbeat has a rhythm, and breathing in and out, your pulmonary system also has a rhythm. We can hear the heartbeat, we can feel ourselves breathing in and out. The thing about blood sugar is it also has a nice, easy rhythm to it when it's happy. But it has a very sharp and stark rhythm to it when it's unhappy and your body wants to store fat. So happy is burning fat, and stark and sharp is unhappy, storing fat. So the thing about blood sugar is you can't hear it or feel it. So it's just kind of doing its thing. Let's hope it's doing this. Let me give you one more analogy so you really understand how you can regulate your blood sugar so that it gets to all of the finish lines that you're hoping it does get to. Back when they had old-fashioned coal carts, right? The trains that would deliver goods and services, or not services, goods across the country would be loaded up in all these train cars, and there was a coal car or two or three attached right next to the engine, and it was the engineer's job to scoop the coal and put it into the fire. And what he was doing, he had an objective, was to get the temperature to a right get the temperature gauge to sit right at the right temperature, which would create enough power and energy to get down the line and get to their destination. So it wouldn't have made sense to take one piece of coal at a time and flick it into the fire, right? Which is what we do when we undereat. And it wouldn't have made sense to take the whole car of coal and dump it into the furnace and have it all burn super hot, too hot, and then burn out before you got to the destination, which is kind of what we do when we overeat. So we're going to talk about blood sugar in that nice mid-range where we just have this nice and easy flow. So when you put food in, it elevates your blood sugar, and when you move around, your heart's beating, you go for a walk, you do some exercise, it drops the blood sugar. And then you put some food in, and then you expend it, and you put food in and you expend it. So you have this nice, easy thing going along. Well, what happens more often than not is that we go without eating, we go out without eating, we go without eating, go without eating, and then it's fork, spoon, go. It's like game on, right? We just go for it, and we have this huge huge amount of glucose in the bloodstream because part of that food was probably fluffy, because you really can't overeat nutritionally dense foods. That's sort of what we talked about when we talked about proteins, vegetables, and fruits. You're not going to overeat those. Your body's going to tell you when it needs more, right? That's your stomach growling. That means that the blood sugar's dropped. Let's reinstate it. Blood sugar drops. Let's put it back in there, right? So you have that nice and easy. But if you're not listening to that, or if it's been a while since you've even felt your stomach growl, well, we've got some work to do. We need to wake up your metabolism again so that your hormones have that appropriate response, that when there's nothing in the tank, we need to feed it again. So let's talk about why the condition is what it is inside of your body. When we talk about glucose, we talk about the blood sugar level. If we are very unaware of what's happening inside our body, it's very easy to insult your body, if you will. That you increase the blood sugar levels to a place that is actually too dangerous. It's too dangerous to have that much sugar in your bloodstream. Your body can't utilize it all, right? What it can use, it's going to distribute as quickly as it can, but whatever's left over is excess, and it's too much. We have elevated blood sugars, and that's when insulin, right? Insulin playing on either extreme of too much glucose or not enough glucose, because we haven't eaten, right? That's not enough. And too much is we overate. When insulin's out to play, it's actually sending a signal to glucagon saying, please come help, we have an emergency. It's not one that you actually recognize consciously, because your body's handling what just happened inside, right? If it wasn't able to handle it, you would get a very different response and you'd be calling your doctor. So the fact that your body's handling it is a really good thing, because there's a natural response going on. But when glucagon has to come out, its job is actually to snowplow all of the extra glucose in the bloodstream, and then there's a process that takes place as it's turned into glycogen and stored in your liver. Now the glycogen in your liver is there for a fight or flight moment. So a car accident, running from a bear, something on that order. Let's hope you don't have any need for it, but if you don't, and there's a lot of it, it just gets stored as fat. So then we have this whole repetitive system that's happening of too much glucose, scoop it up, store it as glycogen, can't use it, store it as fat. And then the next batch comes in. And that's the pattern that's been happening, so we need to reverse that. And so when we talked about the proteins, the vegetables, and the fruit, we were talking about not giving your body a chance to store fat. Because proteins, vegetables, and fruits do not store as fat. And let me just say, I didn't say it back then, but I'll say it now, that the sugar in fruit that people get all crazy about, you have to understand that is natural sugar. Your body knows what to do with that sugar. It is not high fructose corn syrup that's going to play a very different scenario out in your bloodstream, right? Where you are storing glycogen and storing it as fat. So really important that you understand that fruit is natural. Your body knows what to do with it. You eat an apple, you feel satisfied because your body knows exactly what to do with that amount of sugar, right? And natural sugar. And when I've heard people say, oh, well, you can't have watermelon because it's on the highest of the high glycemic index of all the fruits. And my question back to them is are you eating all the watermelon? Are you eating the whole thing? No, probably not. So if you're having some watermelon, because what's summer without watermelon? Or if you're having some, peaches, peach season, I promise, it is not the watermelon or the peaches that are making us uncomfortable in our bodies. Right? Would you agree? I hope so. So fruit is there. It's got nutritional density. It's got nutritional value. Inside of every fruit and a wide variety, they make complete proteins. They are good for your body. Your body loves them. They're live foods. They came off of the trees or off the vines, or even, off the vines out of the ground, right? So they're live foods. All right, that was my little fruit tangent. But back to the glucose in your bloodstream. It's important that you understand that if you eat all day, you're going to have a nice easy flow. That nice easy flow tells your brain there's no famine. Go ahead and burn the fat. Burn all the extra sugar. Right? So it never gets stored as fat. You're really not giving your body an opportunity to store fat. Does that make sense? So nice and easy snacking all day. I don't call them meals. I call them snacks. If you're fixing yourself 2 meals, make both of those meals spread out all day. An example might be breakfast. That's, eggs, ham, and fruit. Right? So have your eggs first, and an hour later have your ham, and then 2 hours later have your fruit, and then you have lunch. What have you done? You balanced your blood sugars. There was a little something going on all day, right? Remember the story of the stomach. Anything that goes in here, it's going to satisfy ghrelin for a minute. It's going to stop your stomach from growling. And it's going to tell your body, don't worry, don't store fat. There is no famine. If you are going without food and going without food and going without food, your body's like, whoa, there's a famine in the land and we're going to store fat. We might need it later. See how your body's trying to help you survive? But you don't want to have to survive. You want to thrive. You want to give your body a reason to burn fat calories. And so if it's had a little bit of food, when that food dips down here, grabbing a little bit of body fat, then we feed it, and then it dips down here, a little bit of body fat. Right? That's your metabolism, how your metabolism works. So if it's not like processing food for hours on end, and then it gets another dose of it, then in between your body can actually burn fat calories. But if it's so busy, right, it's the office scenario that you have too many jobs, you're not doing anything well. Yeah, your body's like, I don't know, we're just like surviving here because here comes another batch. So it's like turn it into glycogen, store it as fat. Didn't have time to burn fat because we were busy storing it. So if your stomach's not growling automatically, if it's been a long time, it doesn't really growl till dinner time, or it just never growls, you will have to reteach your body how to growl. And that means a little bit all day. Hard-boiled egg, cheese stick, apple, plate of broccoli, just all day long. Put something in, put something in, put something in. Obviously, there's going to be exercise that's needed with this because you got to speed up your metabolism. You have to give your body a reason to demand fuel. If it demands fuel because of the exercise and the way you're eating, your body has no choice but to burn the body fat that it has. Cool, right? So that literally means you are totally in charge of giving your body the right kind of information so it will burn fat. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a caloric deficit. Now remember, we talked about calories are really just a measurement of energy. And so we're not talking about fluffy calories or dense calories at the moment. We're just talking about your body has a known caloric need. Innately, your body knows exactly how many calories it needs at every stage of life doing the types of activities that you do that it needs to feel satisfied. So if you get up late and you forget to have breakfast and you're moving through your day and lunch was crazy and you had a business meeting you forgot about and nothing happens in the food department until, say, dinner, then at dinner time, there has been a serious caloric deficit because your body's built to eat. It's built to burn fuel, and it's built to do it in small increments. Not 3 large meals like we were once taught back when the food pyramid was a thing. That's really not a thing anymore, just in case you needed to know. But we're eating a little bit all day. Your body loves that. It's settled in. There's no famine in the land. But if you didn't do that, at the end of the day, you are going to be fork, spoon, go. I mean, literally, someone's going to lose an arm if you don't get food right now, right? And then we really have no control. Our brain's on, I don't know, pilot, right? It's just, I don't know, just give me something, fork, spoon, I'm going to eat it until I can't take it anymore. And when that happens, you've got this huge amount of glucose in your bloodstream. Your body's scrambling to try and save you from yourself, right? There's plenty of opportunity to store fat, but guess what? Your body's not done yet. It's not done. It's like, well, you ate that until you couldn't take it anymore, but now we have cravings. We need dessert. Why? Because your body's going to figure out how to get enough calories and make up for the deficit that happened earlier on in the day. So guess what? You're going to be hunting for chocolate. You're going to try and figure something out, and if it's not at home, you'll go buy it. So, if you want to prevent that from happening, I want you to think about balancing the blood sugars all day long. Make sure your body is not in a caloric deficit. And at the end of the day, your body doesn't care. I don't care if it's sugar, fluff, density, I don't care. Just give me something and give it to me now. So, I recommend, highly recommend, that you eat nutritionally dense foods all day long. So when it comes to dinner, guess what? You're not going to be starving. You'll be able to make a rational decision about what am I going to eat and how much of it do I want. Very rational. And you'll know exactly how you got there because your energy was sustained all day, right? You never had a caloric crash. You didn't have to make up the difference. You didn't have these huge valleys and mountains happening in your blood sugar. Instead, it had a nice, easy rhythm, just like your heartbeat. Okay, so let's go through some of these other finish lines. We did talk about eating 4 to 6 times a day. When you eat a little bit all day, those blood sugars are nice and balanced, right? But you need to understand that you're working on a scale of 1 to 4. 1, you're so hungry, someone's going to lose an arm, right? That's the hunger you feel when you wait all day long to eat, and it's like 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, and you haven't had much, if anything, but a soda all day, right? You're going to be starving. 2, your stomach's growling, but it's not a huge deal. You're just very aware that you're hungry and that you need to eat. The third level is that you're feeling really satisfied. You ate, you're satisfied, you feel good. You can probably go another 2 hours before you eat again. And number 4, you're so uncomfortable and you're very overstuffed. That is the extreme, right? So if you're so hungry you gnaw somebody's arm off, and then it's fork, spoon, go, and then you eat as much as you can, you're going to end up at number 4, where you're so stuffed you can't take it anymore, right? Your goal is to always eat between 2 and 3. You're always eating between 2 and 3. I'm a 2, I'm a 3. I'm a 2, I'm a 3. I'm a 2, I'm a 3. Right? Very easy. Let it flow. It has a really easy give and take to the rhythm of your glucose. Now, you can't hear it, you can't see it, but you can feel it. Right? Sustained energy all day long. You never really hit a low and you didn't need a nap after your high, right? So just make sure that you're asking yourself and becoming aware. That's probably one of the most important things, is becoming aware of when you're hungry and then acting on it, being ready to act on it, right? That's key. And then get to a place of being satisfied. Now let me give you the mindset behind this, because if you're eating at a 2 and it's really imperative that you eat again, like it's a must, and fat loss, eating every 2 to 4 hours or more often is a must. That's really going to shift it in your head. Because in weight loss, we're like, oh, I can't eat, I have to restrict my calories, I can hardly have anything to eat, and I'm going to have to make it all day without eating much. Yeah, there's a lot of restriction there. It's not going to last very long doing that because it's not very fun, right? But in fat loss, you're saying, oh, I've got to eat again in 2 hours? Well then I'm going to be careful how much I eat right now because I have to eat again. It is an absolute must, a requirement that I eat again in 2 hours to keep my metabolism burning fat calories all day. That's different, right? I heard somebody say the other day, well, on the diet plans I've been on, it's not like I could eat all that I wanted. And I thought, good point, because when I made my transformation, I actually did eat all I wanted. I could eat all I wanted for the 2-hour period that it needed to sustain me. If I overate, I wasn't going to be able to eat that next meal. So I was like, well, I have to eat again, and then I'm going to have to eat again, and then I'm going to have to eat again. So I was never feeling deprived. I had to eat now, and then I was going to eat again, and I was going to eat again, I was going to eat again, and I was going to eat again. And over time, like when I made my transformation in the 6-month period, as the months went along, I started to realize what it meant to me to eat every couple of hours. And now, 13 years later, and I'm into my 50s, which means my hormones have shifted, and I had a hormonal drop in the potential of my hormones, or I should say the potency of my hormones. I've had to relearn how to eat and listen to the cues that my body was giving me that were new to this stage of my life. So in the beginning, the first 6 months, no grains and starches. It was all proteins, vegetables, and fruit. And then there got to be a point at that 6-month mark where my metabolism was really starting to fire up and I was hungry every 2 hours. Nobody had to tell me to eat every 2 hours. I was eating because I was starving, right? And so I kind of went to a 1 there for a while where I was like, I am so hungry, but that was happening every 2 hours for me. So I was having to put more grains and starches in to help satisfy me for 2 hours until I could get to my next meal. So you will have stages, but at the beginning of this video masterclass, I also said eliminate some of those foods from your diet for 30 days. I eliminated them for 6 months because that's what my body loved. I was fired up, I had energy all day, I was moving, my metabolism was starting to speed up again. So you've got to listen to your body. Now, I did that when I was 40, not 50. So if you're over 50, you might have to do it a little bit different. But start there, proteins, vegetables, and fruit for 30 days. Try that out. And then listen to your body because you might need to add more grains and starches in. When I added the grains and starches in, I went back to being between a 2 and a 3 all the time. But for a minute there, I was down at a 1 every 2 hours going, I'm so hungry that fruits and vegetables and proteins were not satiating me long enough. So I had to add a little bit back in. And so now I have a starch a day in one of my meals. But generally I wake up, I have a yogurt in the morning. I like the Chobani. And I don't get anything for that, but I like the Chobani brand because it's nutritionally dense. So I have like a yogurt, and then I'll have a cheese stick, and then I have an orange, and then I have lunch, which could, it's usually cheese slices with deli meat, lettuce, pickle, tomato, onion. So it's a pretty substantial sandwich, no bread, right? and then I'll have a snack in the afternoon, nuts, another fruit or something like that, and then I have dinner in the evening. And I go to bed really early, so I don't eat again after dinner. But that's kind of how I do it all day long. I'm eating a little bit of something all day. So you're trying to get between that 2 and the 3, right? And you're not waiting for this huge caloric deficit, and your new mindset is, I'm not going to overeat right now because I have to eat again in 2 hours. So keep those things in mind, because these are the facts and all of the principles that are behind speeding up a metabolism so that you burn body fat all day. Okay, so let's just go over another one of the finish lines, and I want you to try and assimilate all the information that we're talking about, because we've already talked about if you have to eat all day long and eating every 2 hours is a must, then it's a lot easier to eat appropriate sized portions, right? You're not going to overeat because you just ate and you just ate and you just ate, and there's this pattern building in your body that you're eating all the time. So there's never really an opportunity to overeat when you're eating for fat loss. But what about a holiday or Thanksgiving, right? So maybe you have traditions where in the morning you're not eating anything so you can save room for a big turkey dinner. I'm going to suggest that you make your memories huge and the experience of being with your family and friends big, and your plate is going to be small. If you have some of everything, right, it's the same concept as just your daily normal routine, that you're going to have some and you're going to get to a 3, you're going to feel satisfied. You're going to do your Thanksgiving plate a little bit all day, right? You're going to have a piece of pie because, yeah, it makes sense. It's a holiday. And so you're just kind of spreading the love out all day long. So you're like, oh, I love my Jell-O salad and I love the green salad, and I'm going to have some potatoes and some turkey, and we put that on our plate. No stacking. That's the rule, though. Just because your plate is small doesn't mean you can stack it high. You're just going to put a portion of whatever it is you want on your plate. Eat it, enjoy it, eat slow, talk a lot, right? And then 2 hours, do it again. Have something else. Literally, you are spreading out, say, the equivalent of 2 whole meals. 2 main meals. You're just spreading it out all day. Does that make sense? So instead of eating large meals 3 times a day that allow your body to store some of that sugar as glycogen and then as fat, you're actually just going, oh, well, we're going to take our 8-egg omelet in the morning. And proteins and vegetables can't store as fat on your body, right? So let me just make that clear. And we are going for a feeling in the stomach, right? 2 and 3, 2 and 3. And so 2 were hungry, 3 were satisfied, not overfull, just satisfied. So if that 8-egg omelet with all the vegetables you could pack into it happened in the morning and you chopped it into fifths, that's 5 meals. That pretty much takes you to dinner, right? So at dinner time, since you ate all day and it was nutritionally dense and you got fed and you're not really hungry, you're going to want a small plate again. Does that kind of clarify to you a little bit about how you're going to eat appropriate sized portions all day long, even during a holiday? There's not a single one of us that's going to look at an entire spread at Thanksgiving and say, nah, I can't have it. No, and we want it. And why shouldn't you have it? Because literally, you cannot overload your glucose when you're eating smaller portions. It's only in that big dose that our glucose gets out of control. So let's go to this whole idea of I can't hardly eat anything or I'll gain weight versus I must eat again in 2 hours, so I'll be mindful not to eat too much. When are you going to say that to yourself? And how are you going to remember it? If you need to take a snapshot of this slide, a screensaver, and put it on your phone, it's going to be so important that you change this in your mind. You must make the shift. Weight loss, I can't eat anything. I have to reduce my calories. I have to worry about calories. I have to, eat less all the time and expect to survive and make it lasting, in which it's not going to be, because your willpower is a muscle and it will go to muscle failure. There's just going to come a time when you just stop worrying about it. And you're just going to be like, I don't know, I'm starving. I'm going to have whatever I want. And sometimes, we go on a diet on Monday, and Tuesday we do okay. Monday we rock it. Tuesday is okay. Wednesday's kind of like, ugh, that wasn't so good. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the weekend, and we don't start over again until Monday. So a fat loss mindset in the mental shift is more about, I'm going to eat all the time, all day, nutritionally dense foods. There's no willpower involved in that. Just a mindset. Need you to think about, what do I want? Oh, I want to eat every 2 hours, and I must eat every 2 hours. That's going to shift it in your head. We're not going to do the drama of weight loss anymore. We're not going to have to count calories. We're not going to worry about food. But we definitely are going to ask ourselves, we will remember to ask ourselves, if I must eat again in 2 hours, how much can I eat right now? That's kind of a pop quiz. What do you think? 2 to 3. You're going to get to a 3. Wait 2 hours, get to a 3. Wait 2 hours, get to a 3. Okay? So don't make it hard. Make this super, super easy on yourself. Shift, make the mindset. If you need to post that question, if I must eat again in 2 hours, how much do I really need to eat right now? And you will actually, that's the story I started to tell you, was that this person said, I couldn't eat all I wanted, and so all I wanted was what I couldn't eat. And I was like, no, I could eat all I wanted, because in that moment I could eat all that I wanted to make it 2 hours. So we kind of mistake the idea of, I want to have all of it that I want, which would be like that half a box of Cocoa Krispies, right? It's not all I want for 2 hours. So weight loss, it promotes a gluttonous mindset. That's an ugly word, I know, but we don't just have one serving. We have 2 or 3 because we think we're not going to get fed again, or it might be our only opportunity to have that product while it's in the house, if you're in a big family. So just remember that there's no scarcity in fat loss. You can have as much as you want, because you're going to have to eat again in 2 hours. So there's way more of an abundance mindset, that there's plenty to go around, that you're not going to be hungry. There's no such thing as deprivation. You're just always full, satisfied, 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 wherever you go all the time. So that's going to make your life a lot less dramatic and way more fun. Okay, so we're going to plan our meals in advance. That's another finish line. Now I know, you just now got a picture of sitting down at the table, and so what do you all want to eat this week? And they're all saying macaroni and cheese. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to cook for my family. I don't want to have to make 2 separate meals, one for me, one for them. Hopefully, if you're an empty nester, that's not going to be a problem, and your spouse will be on board. Or if you're just a single woman, then this is going to be pretty much a no-brainer for you. So, but there's all different scenarios in our homes of what we're trying to accomplish, right? So meals can be an issue, but ultimately it would be nice to be able to use your meals as an opportunity to visit with your loved ones and your friends. It would be an opportunity for you to, again, get satisfied, not overfilled, and hopefully we're looking at it with mindset of having more fun and obsessing about it less. So here's my suggestion to you, that you actually get on Instagram. And if you don't know how to work it, I guarantee you know somebody who does. But if you get on Instagram and say you type in healthy minute meals. Now, we're not affiliated with this company or anything, but I love what they do. So I'm promoting them anyway. If you type in your search bar, healthy minute meals, and they've got the little strawberry logo up in the corner, that's their profile picture, and just flip through all of their pictures, you're just gonna notice that they all have something in common. All of their food are the colors of the earth. Orange, green, reds, yellows, browns, purples. They're beautiful dishes. So you can see even in this picture we've got shrimp and it looks like sweet potato, avocado, kale, and that might be couscous or quinoa, I'm not sure, and asparagus. Now if there's something on one of the meals that you don't care for, take it off. Put in a modification. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, put in asparagus. If you don't like asparagus, put in cauliflower, like you know what vegetables are. So just substitute. And if you've decided not to have grains and starches, don't do grains and starches, take it out. But if you want grains and starches in small amount because you've got to eat again in 2 hours, yeah, do that. But the beautiful thing is you can literally eat off of their menu for a year. Just scroll through all of their pictures, favorite them. So on every picture, if you click on the picture, there's a little ribbon, an outline of a ribbon. Hit that, favorite it. It stores it in your favorite. So when you go to your profile picture and hit the ribbon on the list of things where you can see your own history on there, hit the ribbon and you'll see all of your favorites are stored in there. And guess what goes to the grocery store with you? Yeah, your phone. Your phone. So if you click on a picture and scroll down just under the picture, there's the entire ingredient list. So guess what? That's your shopping list. So if you've saved a couple of meals on there and you're at the grocery store, all you have to do is scan through the list. What do I need? What do I need? Right? In the ingredient list. Make it easy. Make it inspirational. And if you follow them, there's actually a little down arrow button. You click on that and it'll show you everybody that they follow. And they have friends that do this kind of meal planning, meal prep for you as well. We didn't need to reinvent the wheel, so I wasn't going to come up with my own recipes or anything like that. These are fat-less foods. They used to be alive. Every single meal on this website used to be alive. They are not dead foods. So eat clean, have fun, and make it simple. Make your Instagram an inspiration for you so you don't have to think so hard about planning your meals. Okay, so the next finish line that we're going to talk about is counting your bites. In weight loss, you count calories, right? We've all tried that. Didn't work so well. But in fat loss, if you count your bites, it's way less counting and it makes more sense. After a while, you don't even have to count bites. You have a really good idea of how many bites it takes for you to become satisfied. So when we talk about bites, we're actually just talking about the types of calories that matter in fat loss. So the types of calories are what matter to your hormones, right? But the bites that you're taking can determine whether you burn or store fat, right? If you were taking 15 bites of a sweet potato, because right, sweet potatoes are like this big. So if we're saying 3 to 5 bites, let me just put this up there for you. 3 to 5 bites is for fat loss. 3 to 5 bites. You cannot actually spike your blood sugar in 3 to 5 bites, right? Think about that. So nobody ever had teriyaki chicken with vegetables without the brown rice, right? So we're going to have, that's going to come up in our diet. We're going to eat it, but let's not worry about it, right? Because it's 1 serving spoonful on your plate with more than 1 vegetable and a protein. You're going to be what? Satisfied. You're going to hit the 3, right? You want to be a 2, you're hungry, 3, you're full. That's what that's going to do, 3 to 5 bites. 5 to 10 bites, that's where I got when my metabolism was just firing. I was hungry every 2 hours. So 5 to 10 bites was a better place for me to be. And to be completely honest, it was more like 5 to 8 bites for me. And but for somebody that's doing more heavy lifting, they're trying to replenish their muscle, you must give your body something to burn. Otherwise, it's going to draw from the muscle too, and we don't want that. So any muscle you put on your body, you definitely want to keep, and you can do that with 5 to 10 bites, and then 10 to 15 bites is more for a man that's trying to put on a lot of muscle, or it could be for somebody that we refer to as a muscle burner. And a muscle burner, they tend to be skinny fat. They have a very hard time putting muscle on their body, even women, and so they actually need more of the grains and starches in their diet so that their body is busy. It's kind of distracted, right? It gets busy burning the starches and grains, not the muscle, okay? So I'm just going to go back a little bit here. The types of calories that matter in fat loss are the green ones, right? And not just green, but the nutritionally dense ones, right? That was the little joke about no one was ever caught in the back pantry uncontrollably eating broccoli. That's only because you can't overeat it. You've eaten broccoli before, but when you're done eating broccoli, you're done eating broccoli. Your brain said, hey, how are we doing down there? And your stomach's like, well, we got all the nutritional density that we needed, so you can stop eating now. That's when you find yourself pushing back from the table. If you're eating the fluffy foods, you don't get that registering in your mind as quickly. So that's why counting bites, not calories, actually works. That the 3 to 5 bites of starches and grains are not necessarily going to register quite as quickly that it's nutritionally dense, especially if they're associated with, dead food products, ingredient lists like tortillas, muffins, and bagels, and donuts, and bread, right? So 3 to 5 bites, count your bites, not your calories. That's really where you understand, like, I'm not going without, I can have some. Right? You're not trying not to have the foods that you love, because grains and starches make proteins and vegetables interesting, just like fats make them interesting, right? And you want your food to taste good, season it up, use all the seasonings you want, condiments are all fair play. When people get crazy about mayonnaise, it's like, I promise it is not the quantity of mayonnaise that we're eating that's getting us uncomfortable with our bodies. Nobody ate a jar of mayonnaise just for the heck of it. So it's counting your bites is going to be very helpful. Don't be obsessive about it. We're not literally saying it can be no more than 5 bites if you're not quite satisfied yet. Right? Your body's going to tell you when it's done. So take heed, listen to what your body's telling you, and enjoy your food. Okay, so the next finish line that we're going to talk about is drinking our water. And again, in weight loss, it gets a little bit bananas, counting ounces and worrying about, oh, I should drink more water. If you say you should do anything, you need to stop it, because it's not nice to should on yourself, right? So if your body needs water, drink it. Need and should are very different. So it's not that we should drink more water, because there's this Eeyore tone of voice when we say that. I should drink more water. If that's how you sound when you talk about water, let's flip it in your head. The hardest thing about this entire masterclass for you is going to be switching from a weight loss mindset. Everything you've ever learned, everything you've ever heard out there in the diet world and the fitness world is counting calories and obsessing about your weight. It is not the goal. The goal is to give your body what it needs, to say thank you so that your body can function optimally. It feels fired up. And that's all we're trying to do. Stop the insults, feed it fuel, and give it the water it needs to perform optimally. So, when we talk about drinking our water, we're really just saying you need to drink about half of your body weight in ounces. If you weigh 140 pounds, you need about 70 ounces of water. That's half of your body weight in ounces, right? So that's it. I mean, it's very, very simple. I have a bottle that I use, and it's 48 ounces, and I drink that all day long, and I finish about 2 of them, so that's about right. So I'm not obsessing about it. I just remember to drink. Why? Because your body is about 70% water, and so drink. And you can also eat your water, fruits and vegetables. Those have a high density of water inside of them. So you can eat your fruits and vegetables and get some water. So it's not just drinking, but hydrate. And when I say hydrate, that's the most important thing. If you're drinking water, you still feel like you're dragging. Maybe you're not retaining the electrolytes. And an electrolyte supplement is a good idea. But have that tested. I mean, you can actually test to see if you're retaining electrolytes or not. So check it out with your doctor if that's a question in your mind. But other than that, drink. Water. Your body loves it. Okay, so the next marker here is the fat loss mindset. The fat loss mindset is all about that shift that we've been talking about, the difference between weight loss and fat loss. In weight loss, it's the Eeyore tone of voice, right? It's like, I can't have it. So if you find yourself saying, I can't have it, what do you want? Well, you want that, right? You want the thing that you can't have, and you will hunt it down and eat it till it's gone, even if it means going out to the store in your bunny slippers late at night. You're going to find it. You're going to eat it till it's gone. So I can't have it kind of has a little bit of a whiny tone to it. It's really not geared towards taking responsibility for what you're trying to accomplish. Because if you want it, then have it. Or if you're just saying, I can't have it, to sound like you're drumming up drama, then that's not working for you, because you know you don't want more drama in your life, right? So I can't have it is an old mindset about what you're depriving yourself of. That is not fat loss. Fat loss is, I don't want it. What's the difference? Can you tell the difference between I can't have it? It's almost like your mother said you can't go out on the weekend, right? I can't have it versus, I don't want it, right? There's a little bit of a snap to that one. I don't want it. Because guess what? This is your life, and you want to be sitting in the driver's seat. You want to be in charge. You want to give a heck yeah to your life. And so there's an attitude that goes with that, but it's also claiming responsibility for the decisions you're making and the life you want to live and how you want to move and feel inside of this vehicle, right? This vehicle is trying to take you from point A to point B as you decide where you're going to go and what you want to do. So sit in the driver's seat. I don't want it is very powerful. It's the decision that you've made. You have decided that this is your life, and you will decide what will and will not go inside your body. You are no longer being told you can't have that. You're on a diet. You know what? A diet is really just what you put in your body. For better or for worse, we're all on a diet because we all eat at some point. So if you're on a weight loss diet, you're restricting yourself, especially from foods you actually like. And if you're in a fat fat loss program, you're really thinking about what you can have and what you don't want. So it's very different to be on top of your game. It's very different. It's empowering. It's powerful. It's exciting. It's like, know what? I got this. I can have it if I want it. And most of the time, I probably don't want it because I don't want it sitting on me. You know, when I was making my transformation, I would go to Costco and I couldn't, you know, the sample ladies couldn't even talk me into taking a bite of a Hot Pocket, not because a bite of a Hot Pocket was going to destroy anything, but it was the mindset behind it. I had already decided, so then I wasn't in this place of negotiating back and forth. Right? Oh, I shouldn't have it. Oh, but I want it. But oh, I shouldn't have it. Oh, I want it. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself eating uncontrollably whatever it was that you weren't supposed to have. So there is definitely a take charge mindset, all centered around I don't want it, or back to the bite rule, I don't want much of it. So if it's there to make your food interesting, like brown rice or quinoa or a sweet potato, then make your food interesting, 3 to 5 bites. But it's still your decision that, I don't want much of it, right? And it's also your decision to have some of it, because say holidays, birthdays, weekends, and vacations, they come up. They're going to happen. So why would we say for every single one of those, we're not going to have the pie. We're not going to have a piece of cake. We're not going to have some of the fun that's being provided. That's not realistic either, right? We know that. So have some. If you decide to have the pie, and here's the difference. If you decide to have the pie, eat it, no guilt. Enjoy it. Laugh, talk, whatever it is you're doing with the people you're with, enjoy it. And then the next meal, you're back on track. In weight loss, we're like, oh, I had the pie, it was terrible, I couldn't stop eating it, and now I'm just going to have to eat bad food for the next 6 months until I forgive myself and start over. You don't need to do that anymore. Fat loss is have the pie, enjoy it, you were good all week, you're going to have a treat, and then the next meal, you're right back on track. That puts you back in the driver's seat like that, and that's where you want to live. So the next marker that we have is the 80-20 rule. This is the final finish line. When you cross the finish line on this one, you are looking at the 80-20. It's not going to be a perfect 100% all in or nothing when you practice fat loss, because we're talking about your life. We're talking about all the ebbs and flows in your life. And for the illnesses that come and go, and the job changes, and the high stress, and the unexpected stuff that comes up in your life, don't sweat it. 80% of what you do is going to get you closer to wherever that takes you, right? You don't get to choose the outcome, but you get to choose the direction. So if you're choosing a fat loss direction, the outcome is going to be a smaller, more fit version of yourself. But if you're practicing weight loss, that's not even going to be 80-20. It's usually 100 and 0. And there's no such thing as perfection. You're not going to get there trying to be perfect and trying to be 100% all in. You can't be black and white there, because your life has a lot of this in it, right? So that's the 20. Like 20% of the time we might be off track, but 80% of the time of eating nutritionally dense foods, eating between 2 and 3, meaning our stomach's growling and we're satisfied. That is how we live 80% of the time, and don't sweat the rest. The rest is just your life happening for you, right? So be patient with yourself. Even the people that are a 10, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1, couldn't care if I ever feel good again. 10, this is non-negotiable. It must happen for me. Even if you're a 10, there's still an 80-20 inside of that, because we're not going for perfection. That's weight loss. The transition, the new shift, in your mind is fat loss. Fat loss has a lifestyle built into it so that you can live your life and go on vacation, travel around, eat other foods, experience other cultures. So don't get crazy. Just be really sure that 80% of the time you're right on track and you're heading in the direction you want to go, and 20% of the time, relax. It's your life. Okay, so now you have all of the finish lines. You understand where the guidelines are, so you understand the difference between weight loss and fat loss, and you be able to guide yourself through this fat loss journey. Now, that's not necessarily going to always be true. We do have programs available to you to understand more about how to practice on a daily basis. I mean, this has been a ton of information, and I'm not quite done yet. You're not done learning more about hormonal fat loss, but just know that you will need guided assistance. You need a coach to show you how to implement this one day at a time. So our programs are available to you anytime you want them. So let's just jump back into what we started with. We started with the idea that hormones control your metabolism. So which hormones are we listening for? Which cues are coming up that we seem to ignore and that we don't even recognize them as a must listen cue? So the first one, hungry. If your stomach growls, and we went over this earlier in this masterclass, if your stomach growls, you must feed it within 5 to 10 minutes. And that's even for a busy professional. If they're sitting at the office desk or they're working with people, you can figure this one out, because even a bite of food going in the stomach is still going to settle it down, going, okay, there's no famine, we're getting fed. That doesn't mean that's supposed to last you for 4 hours, right? If you take a bite, take another one. Like, you can take a bite of an apple and then go back to, working, right? So take a bite, chew, feel like you're getting something to eat all the time. It's just telling your body there's no famine, don't worry, go ahead and burn fat. Right? That's the signal you want to send to your body. That's the information you're trying to put in. And sometimes it's more socially acceptable to drink a protein shake in front of a client than it is to try and eat something and talk with your mouth full, right? We don't want anything awkward. So drink your protein shake if it's at 10 o'clock in the morning, because that's the only thing you'll be able to get down until you get around to food at noon. It's better to have a snack at 10 and a snack at 3 if you can't eat all day, right? Make this work for you, but it's better to have those snacks that preempts overeating, right? The most important meal of the day, not breakfast, eat all day, but the most important meal of the day is actually at 3 o'clock, because that's the one that usually gets skipped. We're pretty good in the morning, right? We have breakfast, or we have a snack, and then we have lunch, and we just go until dinner. There's no snack. I'm kind of missing that piece of the puzzle. But if you have a snack at 3, what are the chances at 6 you'll still be able to make a pretty good decision? Yeah, pretty good, pretty high. So that's really where you want to throw that extra snack in there. So if it's a protein shake, like a Muscle Milk Light, it satiates the bloodstream, goes to repair muscles, can't store as fat. It's a really good idea. If your energy drops, like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you need a nap, that's low blood sugar, right? It's time, and it may not signal you in the form of growling, but it's signaling you nonetheless. So eat something and watch yourself revive. Again, that's that 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when your blood sugar needs to be restabilized again, because your frontal cortex is... Did I say cortex? Cortex is tired. It's tired. So you've gone like all morning, all mid-morning, to afternoon, and now you're mid-afternoon. You're getting a little bit punchy. You're kind of tired and you've been going. You literally cannot be productive after 90 minutes. So super important that you maximize your productivity by refueling your body. That is another resource for your body to draw on if you have to keep on going, right? So get food 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and watch yourself revive. You won't need a nap anymore. You will have been fed and you'll be ready to finish the day, right? If you eat at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and you don't revive, you probably do need a nap. So steal away somewhere and take a 10-minute power nap. Sleep is your reset button for your hormones. So a power nap is going to revive you. It'll help you. Just fall under the radar for about 10 minutes, not even enough to go to a sound sleep. Pop back up, you'll feel a lot better. And then cravings. Oh my goodness. Cravings happen somewhere between 8 and 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's cookie cake ice cream happening right then. So if you're getting cravings, go to bed, because nobody's ever had a craving in their sleep, right? So go to bed. That is your cue. You don't need to stay up longer. That's usually what happens is we think we need more downtime and 8 o'clock rolls around, and instead of packing it in and going to bed, instead we're staying up until we can't take it anymore, and somewhere in there we find ourselves in the freezer and we had no idea how we got there. So if that's a pattern that you would like to quit and just get rid of it because it's not serving you anymore, and you know everything you eat, trying to make up a caloric deficit for what you didn't eat all day is hurting you, then go to bed. Make sleep your reward. And whatever it takes to get in bed sooner, do that. The goal here is really to look and feel like we're 32 forever. We want to play, we want to be happy, we want to be energized. We want to live the life that we love. We want to feel limitless, right? So that's the goal. And fueling your body is how you get there. That is the first and foremost step. We all know it's 80% food, 20% exercise. So the impact that you're making on your body is huge. And if you tell your body by the food you're putting in, that's information. If you're telling your body to store fat, guess what? It's really good at following directions. It's storing fat. And if you put the right information in that says, please burn fat, it'll do that too. So your body's a machine. And it's going to do whatever you tell it to do, but even more importantly, it is the vehicle that allows you to come and go and connect and experience life with the loved ones that we surround ourselves with. So why would you insult it? Why would you make it work so hard? Just let it work for you. Don't make it work against you. So now and forever, you'll be able to live your life fired up. Here we go.